The married target. Nuns and married women are equally unhappy. So said Queen Christina of Sweden. I have, not yet, targeted a nun, although I would readily claim to have done so, since an entertaining tale would surely be attached to such an endeavour. It is a different story with regards to married women. Our kind often target married women and men for the purposes of seducing them, causing them to engage in an affair with us, and cause us to put asunder that matrimonial union. Why do we target those who are married? Given that our kind generally prefer to be pushing on an open door when it comes to the question of seduction, and the fact that we like to conserve energy, why would we pick a target which is already with somebody else? Not only are they with someone else, but they are married, joined together by ceremony, and therefore this coupling has become elevated to the ultimate statement of commitment, and therefore ought to be regarded as unassailable. Number 1. Entitlement. The world is ours, and that includes all those within it. We want, therefore we should get. 2. Lack of boundary recognition. Nothing is off limits to us. The institution of marriage is one we respect for the purpose of the facade, but otherwise it means nothing to us. Please listen to the video, The Narcissist and Marriage, for more. 3. Lack of accountability. We might be labelled as a marriage spoiler and homewrecker, but what do we care? It won't be our fault, because our narcissistic perspective automatically causes us to advance reasons as to why we have done nothing wrong. He obviously wasn't happy, otherwise why did he leave? 4. Triangulation. A favoured manipulation of ours which allows for contrast, the creation of drama, pitting parties against one another, and of course, 2 fuel streams. 5. Magical thinking. This includes the triangulation and lack of accountability as we regard ourselves as actually doing a good thing. We are the white knight riding in to rescue the damsel in distress, or the angelic soul tending to the downtrodden man. As is often the case, we will portray ourselves as the rescuer, at least to begin with. Number 6. Omnipotence. Seducing someone single, anybody we choose, and of course succeeding, shows how effective we are. Steal that person away from a partner, our power is even greater. Pluck them from a marriage. How mighty are we to be able to do that? 7. Malice. The cuckolded individual might be someone who has mortally offended us, and by stealing something so precious as their spouse, then that allows the delivery of sweet revenge on this transgressor. 8. Confirmation of empathic traits. A married person is invariably a love devotee. They will be honest and decent because they agreed to this statement of commitment. They subscribe to the institution of marriage, which will indicate a good moral compass. They will be caring, since they have agreed to be with another in this environment. And that means they will share resources, tend for that person when upset or ill, and so forth. 9. Confirmation of residual benefits. It is highly likely that this individual, being part of a domestic setup, will engage in earning a wage, DIY, cooking, cleaning, tending for the other person, and similar tasks, which tells those of our kind who prioritize those matters that these are residual benefits which are ready to be conveyed on us. There may even be property and financial advantages to sequestrate post-divorce. 10. Fuel. By turning the head of this dazzling exotic creature, which is locked in a gilded cage, he or she will be grateful, joyous, and ecstatic to be freed, and of course the recipient of all this positive fuel will be us, the glorious rescuer. Throw in the negative fuel of the bested, spurned spouse, and it becomes a fuel frenzy. Accordingly, The fact that somebody is married signals to us that there are many benefits, and our mindset sees this individual as an entirely viable target. However, might there be concerns also? I am sure various questions have already formed in your mind as to why we might not regard a married person as a viable target. This may include 1. Why choose someone who is already with somebody else? Surely that requires more effort to lure them away. Yes, it will require more effort, but our sense of entitlement, unshakable belief in our brilliance, and moreover the rewards that await us mean this effort is worthwhile. Keep in mind that as we are targeting this person, we will usually be devaluing our own intimate partner primary source, and therefore there is plenty of negative fuel to hand to power the seduction of this newly acquired target. We are not in any rush to secure them, our IPPS is not looking to escape, and the conditions for disengagement have not yet been made. 2. Is it not the case that a lesser or mid-range narcissist is more likely to be deterred from hoovering when their former intimate partner primary source has a new partner post-escape disengagement? Does this not apply when seeking a target? That consideration is certainly applicable when applied to the follow-up hoover, but this is a seduction hoover, and therefore the condition and context are entirely different. The fear of rejection is not one which is looming large. 3. Are we not concerned about reprisals from the target's spouse, family, and friends? No, our belief in our superiority pushes such a concern to one side. The lesser will resort to physical violence if necessary. The mid-ranger will use this unwarranted, in his or her mind, attack to prove that he or she deserves pity and praise for doing the right thing in trying to set the poor spouse free from their abusive tyrant. The greater will charm his way out of trouble, or threaten his own far worse repercussions, if anybody tries to get clever. 4. Are we not concerned our facade may be damaged by such behaviour, which society generally frowns on? This is a concern, however it is overridden, because whatever unmerited criticism may come our way for interfering in a marriage, we convince ourselves that it is justified, and for the greater good. This person is unhappy, bored, abused, and we are getting them out of there, and if you were a real friend, you would understand that and help me. We may as well manipulate the disapproving secondary source as well. 5. Would we not be perturbed that if this person could be stolen away from another, that means they will do the same to us at some point? Of course not. Why on earth would they ever leave us after everything we have done for them? Don't be stupid. 6. If someone is willing to cheat on their partner, are they as empathic as we want them to be? This is an interesting question, and one which merits its own article as to why do empathic people cheat. Do see the dirty empath infidelity. Suffice to state for the purposes of this video, we regard their desire to cheat as a necessary evil to escape the situation that they are in order to get to a better place with us. And this is a temporary behaviour which will not affect their overall empathic nature. Accordingly, with motivating factors in place and any potential concerns either not applicable or easily addressed, we commence our pursuit. Why do we consider that this married target will succumb to our seduction? Leaving aside our belief in our irresistible qualities, our brilliance and magnetism, there are a number of reasons why we see it as likely that these people will fall under our spell. 1. The married targets we lock onto are of course of similar makeup to our targets who are single. Namely, they have the relevant empathic, class and special traits, as explained in my book, Sitting Target, How and Why the Narcissist Chooses You. Moreover, the people we target are susceptible to being drawn to our kind. They have an inherent vulnerability to our kind, and being married does not mean this vulnerability has vanished. 2. The married target may already be with one of our kind. Thus, Whilst the lesser and mid-range will not recognise this, they will instinctively identify the person who is susceptible to them, and will invariably devalued, or is being devalued, and therefore this allows the incoming narcissist to play the role of rescuer. It is the case that our kind will steal empaths from one another. The greater narcissist will of course recognise one of the brethren and use this to his advantage in spiriting away the empathic married target. 3. The married target might actually be one of our kind, and the lesser and mid-range have not spotted one another. The married target is of course absolutely game for infidelity, whilst the outcome will be the relevant conclusion of a romantic collision between the relevant school of narcissist. The fact that the married target is a narcissist means that the coupling is going to occur in the first place. 4. We see how people's lives become humdrum and monotonous. We do not recognise the deep-seated bond between two people because we are incapable of attachment ourselves. We do not pay heed to the stability that some relationships acquire through the passage of time. What we see instead is someone who must be bored with the same routine, because of course we become bored easily, and therefore judge others in a similar vein. But our magical thinking means that they cannot possibly become bored with us. Whilst we may not play the abuse card, we still see this person as stuck in a rut, fed up, in need of spice and adventure, and of course, as the dazzling whirlwind that we are, we arrive and provide that all. Who could fail to be excited by such a marvellous array of glitter, gold, and garnish? 5. People always have something to complain about with regard to their spouse. He isn't romantic anymore. She has let herself go. We never do anything together. She just wants to watch television. He won't show any interest in what I do. He insists on going fishing every weekend. He snores, and it drives me nuts, and so on. Whether it is significant or trivial, we will count on these facts and uncover them, and use them to our advantage. We will heighten our attractiveness based on this. For instance, asking you all about your interest in 18th century literature. And denigrate the spouse's unattractive trait. I wouldn't go fishing if I could go to the theatre with you instead. Of course, this is just part of the lying and the mirroring that we do when we are seducing. 6. Our split thinking will automatically paint your spouse as the villain of the piece. His concern about where you are is painted as him trying to control you. His friendly demeanour with other women is evidence of his flirtatious nature. Our insidious techniques drip feed dissent and play with your mind. We dangle the golden carrot in one hand and pump toxic lies about your spouse with the other, looking to steadily tip the scales in our favour. 7. We will readily invent tales of your spouse's supposed misdemeanours and or manufacture them. A lieutenant will be sent to flirt with your husband, and we will provide you with footage to show their entanglement. Of course, we remove the part where your husband tells that person where to go. Another lieutenant will be sent to get your wife drunk or slip drugs into her handbag for you to find later, ramping up our suggestions that she is selfish and tripping the light fantastic, while you stay at home looking after the children. Why are you putting up with that when you could leave and be with someone who really appreciates you? 8. Everybody has their price. Nobody is immune and above being manipulated into a position whereby they are seduced by us. Yes, some may take longer than others, but combine the target's susceptibility, the fact that they may be in a difficult relationship, the fact they may be bored or lonely, the fact we are exciting and invigorating, the fact we will manipulate the battlefield so that it is always in our favour, and you have a situation where it is impossible for someone to resist us. We will secure our married target. Ultimately, if there are those who are impervious to our overtures, we won't target them to begin with. The dynamic of the married target and the narcissist also has to be addressed. We may see a ring on a finger of a person in a bar and opt them to make them an intimate partner tertiary source by sleeping with them that night before they slink away to their spouse. We may never bother with them again. But fuel has been obtained. Thought fuel, gained thinking of the unseen spouse wondering where their wife or husband is, and the ratification of our power achieved. More often, the married target becomes a non-intimate secondary source. We worm our way in as a wonderful friend, but this is a mere staging post as we hurtle towards bedding them and making them an intimate partner secondary source. There may be a dirty little secret, a colleague who we rut in the empty offices at work, or who scurries away from their spouse under the pretence of attending the gym before meeting us in the back of our car in a shadowy car park. We may have no pressing need to make them our intimate partner primary source, and therefore we are content to utilise that person as a shelf intimate partner secondary source, organising a night away together when he pretends he is on a business trip, or calling into work on the basis of being unwell to spend an afternoon together. We may bring you into our world, letting you meet friends and family, seeing you intermittently, content to show you our enticing world, and then place you on the shelf, leaving you longing for more, pining for us at weekends, when you must be with your family, and we are engaging with our own intimate partner primary source, or a different IPSS. We may hit the mother lode and realise you ought to be our IPPS, and as our candidate IPSS, we go all out to smear your spouse, entice you, and roll out all our dazzling illusions to show you that you need to leave him, be free, and be with yourself, and be with us. We will coax, cajole, and entice, showing you the forbidden fruits, and the liberation that awaits you at our supposedly benevolent rescuing hand. The more we smear your innocent spouse, and the more we shower you with the love-bombing, your resistance will erode. Your emotional thinking will subsume your cool, hard logic, as you become swept up in the moment, and your emotional thinking cons you, as it whispers to you, "You have been a wife and a mother for 20 years, never complaining. It is time you started living." Or, she just isn't interested in sex anymore, and you have needs. Here is someone who makes you feel alive again. Or, she just takes you for granted. Here is someone who values you. Or, yes, he will be hurt if you leave, but he will get over it. You deserve to be happy, don't you? Oh, the excuses will come pouring, and of course, we will not dissuade you from thinking in this way. We will say and do whatever is needed to get what we want, charming you and painting your spouse as evil, awful, and selfish. The simple fact is that all people are targets. Married targets are often even better targets for our needs.